One of the best read articles of all time on What's on Weibo is that about China's evil power women. And although some women in this list are actually very evil, others just have a remarkable life story. What they all have in common, though, is that they were very influential and powerful in their time, and that they are still a popular topic of discussion on Chinese social media today. These are the three. Number 3, from superstar to traitor, Li Xianglan. Li Xianglan was a famous actress and singer who was absolutely loved by Chinese audiences for her talent and her beauty, but who was later also hated for her nationality. She was actually a Japanese woman pretending to be Chinese for many years. Her Japanese name was Yoshiko Yamaguchi, and she was born in 1920 Manchuria. Both of her parents were Japanese, and when the Sino-Japanese War was underway, that's when she rose to superstar status. Because her Chinese was so impeccable, nobody had a clue that she was actually Japanese. During this time, she starred in a total of 17 different movies. It was especially the movie Eternity from 1943 that was her big breakthrough in China, with her songs becoming popular all across the country. But she also played in other types of movies, Japanese propaganda movies in which she represented China. One of them was the 1940 movie Night in China, in which she plays this Chinese girl who falls in love with this Japanese captain. And for this reason, amongst others, she was arrested for treason when the war was over in 1945. In order to protect herself from being locked up, Yamaguchi had to reveal her true identity as a Japanese person. She later fled to the US, where she again changed her name to Shirley Yamaguchi. She befriended Charlie Chaplin. She was in Hollywood until also there she was sent away for her connections to communist allies. She later settled down in Japan and started a career in journalism and politics. She then became known under the name of her husband, Otaka Yoshiko. Throughout her life, Li Xianglan, or Shirley Yamaguchi, or Otaka Yoshiko, had a total of 5 different identities. But when she died in the summer of 2014, she was still commemorated on Chinese social media for lying about her Japanese roots and for being a traitor to China. Despite that, her songs still play a major role in the popular culture of China, and she's still beloved on Weibo. Number 2, the real Madame Butterfly, Shi Peipu. Although Shi Peipu was not biologically a woman, she needs to be on this list because of her incredibly crafty ways and because of the fact that she posed as a woman for over 20 years. Shi Peipu was a Chinese spy working for the Chinese Secret Service and was involved in what has been called one of the strangest cases in international espionage. For over 2 decades, Shi Peipu pretended to be a woman during a love relationship with French diplomat Bernard Bourrisco to gather intelligence information from him. Shi Peipu was actually an actor and an opera singer from Kunming who moved to Beijing in the 1960s. In 1964, he or she met the French diplomat at a Christmas party at the embassy, and actually Shi Peipu came there dressed as a man. She told the French diplomat that she had to dress as a man because her father had always wanted a son so much, but that she was actually a woman. The French diplomat bought the story, fell in love with the mysterious opera singer, and that's when the romance took off, even when Bourrisco was stationed abroad. Shi Peipu got Bourrisco entangled in Chinese espionage practices. She always tried to keep the Frenchmen close to her, and even convinced him that she was pregnant of their own child. Shi Peipu later adopted a little boy and said that it was their biological child. In 1982, the two returned to Paris, and a year later they were both arrested. Bourrisco attempted suicide when he learned that his wife and the mother of his child was actually a man. He eventually served a 6-year sentence in prison. Shi Peipu died in 2009. The play by David Huang, M. Butterfly, and the book is actually based on this true story. When Bourrisco was later asked about the love affair, he told reporters, "When I believed it at the time, it was beautiful." Number 1. Madame Mao, Zhang Qing. Madame Mao, Zhang Qing, is often pinpointed as being one of the most evil women in the modern history of China for what she did during the Cultural Revolution. She was the wife of Mao Zedong, and she had a big influence on his policies, especially those on art and culture. She was born in 1914, and she met Mao in 1937. She was an actress in a left-wing theater and had been married and divorced twice before. Initially, in their relationship, she took her distance in political matters, but she gradually became more influential and involved during the 1950s. She strengthened Mao's position and her own by making sure that all influential people in the government and work units were loyal to the leader and herself, and she removed those who allegedly were not. She soon gathered a group of supporters around her and focused on the destruction of her enemies. As Mao's health declined, she gained in influence, even getting almost supreme power in 1976 while Mao was lying on his deathbed. Together with Yao Wenyuan, Wang Hongwen, and Zhang Chunqiao, she formed the Gang of Four. After Mao's death, the Gang of Four was soon overthrown and accused of persecuting to death more than 34,000 people during the Cultural Revolution. Zhong was last seen in public in 1981 at a Beijing courthouse when she was screaming at the judges and the leaders, saying that they were fascists, renegades, and traitors. Although Zhong was initially sentenced to death, she eventually ended up in prison where she committed suicide in 1991. Although the women on this list are definitely not all equally evil, these are all women who are still popping up on Chinese social media and in popular culture every single day, being remembered for being powerful and then using their influence in a wrong way. Check out the full top 10 list in the URL below, and please subscribe to our channel so we can keep you updated with what's trending on Chinese social media. See you next time.